Good evening. I'd like to open the Board of Health meeting for Monday, October 6th. It is now 6:30 PM. And I'd like to start by reviewing the agenda, add or remove any items. Is there anything you need to add, Darlene?
At this time, we are going to hold off on the minutes of 8:25.
Okay. Anything else?
And since the agenda was posted, we have just some discussion, some educational discussion that we'd like to add for the enterovirus and Ebola.
Okay. Where would you like to put those?
We can put those under emergency response if you'd like.
All right, sounds good. Okay. Do we have a bill schedule?
Sir. So there are actually two that you're going to ratify and one that you're going to sign.
Okay. Go ahead, you can start looking at one. Okay, this was from
Sanofi Pasteur, was that from the,
flu.
That's going to be our vaccine, the private pay vaccine. That order was placed last year. Obviously, we have to order
Okay.
before the
Yeah.
season. So we have received,
1569.46. And then, public health nursing, standard monthly amount. And Orbis,
the Orbis is going to be for the composting bins.
okay. Can I motion for all three together to accept as presented?
Second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So just this one, Darlene? Do we have to sign the other two that you signed?
If you wouldn't mind,
Okay.
that would be wonderful.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can go right into agenda and 498 Rochdale septic plan.
Yes. Thank you. So I do have a plan here that I'm just going to place in front of you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So in your packets, you have a copy of an approval letter back from 2006 for this property. It was a septic plan that was submitted to us. There was a hearing, and there was an LUA that was approved, and that was for a setback distance for the soil absorption system to the private well. It went from 100 feet, which is required, to 50 feet
Okay.
because it was an existing house. This plan has not been installed.
Okay.
Just to bring you up to date on this property, 498 Rochdale Street, as you may recall, was a property that we had several orders and a lot of court action on, because we had a failing septic system for some time. So there was a court process that was followed. The owner of the property was ultimately brought to court. He was able to comply. He did get a septic system plan, and that's the plan that's before you. Did go through the hearing process, as I stated, and was approved back in 2006. However, that plan has expired, and since that time, that property became vacant some years ago. The property went into severe disrepair and ultimately was vacant for some time. When I came on some time ago, I worked with Andy in the Attorney General's office for this property under the Abandoned Housing Initiative.
Okay.
And we were able to work with the building inspector as well to identify that this property actually was structurally unsafe. The building inspector and myself actually saw the house was actually at two different levels.
Okay.
You could actually walk into the house and see straight down through the cellar. So it was very, very unsafe situation. We worked with the bank and the property management company that was overseeing the vacant property because it was abandoned, and several attempts were made to contact the owner with no avail. Ultimately, the property was taken down last year, so it was demolished, razed to the ground. What is at the property today is just land. There's no foundation. The only thing that does exist at the property still is the well. If, Eileen, could you click on the older pictures first? Yep.
Which one?
Down below, yep.
Yeah, but, I mean,
You can, okay, just scroll through those, yep. So this is, the property was, that's the house that was
Andy with his
standing. And if you can go back one, please. That is, if you see where the bulkhead is?
Yep.
In front of the bulkhead is the well. So that's the wellhead. You can see that the close proximity it is to the dwelling. It's approximately about 6 to 8 feet or so, give or take where you measure from. And so that well was an existing well, and the property was there. This is actually a site visit that we did with the Attorney General's office to assess the property. You can continue, Eileen. That is the posting that Andy had posted for unfit for human habitation because of the dangerousness of the situation. Continue. Obviously, no stairs in the front. That was posted as well. So those are the pictures back in 2013. I'll have you continue now to the other folder for the newer fit photos. So that was what the property had, and this plan is based upon that structure. So since that time, since the property was raised, the structure was raised, it's now vacant land with the existing well. That wellhead is the same wellhead that you saw in the last picture.
Okay.
In the way back is the house next door, so that's not actually this property. It's actually another lot. The to the left of the picture is the dirt driveway coming in to this lot. So that well is the only thing that's left there. When the structure was raised, we actually abandoned the existing cesspool that's shown on the plan. Okay?
Okay.
So I saw that emptied and abandoned. You can continue, Eileen. This is, actually it's sideways, but this shows some wetness on the property. Again, the structure in the back is the house next door. You can continue. This is land clearing of some of what the current owner has done. Continue. These are some wetland flags, some blue wetland flags there. That, again, is some clearing in and around the area where the septic cesspool used to be with the town vehicle in the back. This is, again, where the house used to be. So when you pull in the driveway, that's the driveway where the house used to be. And see the well. Thank you, Eileen. So that's the wellhead.
Yep.
So this is just to give you an idea of what the current conditions are. Most recently, the Conservation Commission has put the owner under an order to obtain a wetland specialist, which he has done. And he's in the process of going through, I believe, a notice of intent. So this plan doesn't actually require any conservation, but since this is an older plan, maybe some conditions might have changed, or some wetness has been uncovered that maybe wasn't realized previously. So conservation is working with the owner to be able to identify some wetlands on this property.
Is this a new owner?
This is a new owner.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So at this time, the reason that I'm bringing this for you, just basically is to bring you up to speed and for a bit of discussion, because we do have an approved an approval letter that was back in 2006. While this plan has expired, there is under DEP for new construction, this actually qualifies as an exception because the house was raised.
Oh, okay.
So I've reached out to DEP. They actually had offered some guidance as to whether or not we would be able to reuse this plan.
Okay.
Now, one of the concerns that I had talked to them about was, in your approval letter, you had approved a setback distance for, instead of 100 feet to the septic system, it goes down to 50 feet for the well. So the well to the SAS, right here, was 50 feet, because it was an existing well with an existing house. Now that the house is gone, there's talk about where the owner is going to put the house back. So we wanted to just have the board take a look at this and look and see what the best options are at this point, because obviously we've got wetlands issues. You approved this well setback because there was a house at that time. There's no house any longer, and there was a strong recommendation to move the well. Excuse me.
Do you remember this one, Steve? Because you were the chairman. I wasn't here. I came on 3 years after.
We must have had about one of these every month.
Yeah.
So.
The first thing I did was look on the back.
From looking at the documents here, it was obviously a failed system or
Yeah.
a sale that, because of the cesspool, failed it, and it needed a system. Safe to assume this system was never installed?
Correct.
All right.
And I thought there was new construction, but you said because this fits in that little spot where it can be done because the house was raised. Because that was gonna be my first question. Well, isn't this new construction? We don't have to
Well,
worry about it. but-
Right. So, you know, discussion with the designer, he felt that the plan could still be used. However, the plan has expired.
Yeah.
So in order to move forward, I want to bring to your attention the fact that the strong recommendation from the board at that time was, you know, the system was going in a spot that was identified with 50 feet to the well. Now that the house is not there, is there a reason that maybe the septic system can't be moved farther away? Or the house being moved farther away? There's actually over two acres on this property, so it's a large piece of property. There has been quite a bit of clearing where it was some wooded areas before, as you saw in the pictures that Eileen brought up. Those pictures I took last week. So there has been quite a bit of clearing. So, you know, I wanted to bring to your attention, and for discussion purposes, is this something that you would want to move forward with having, the well is there. Would we want to now recommend moving the septic system, or having the option for the homeowner to put everything back the way it was set in this plan?
You don't know the intention of the homeowner then as far as how the site?
The intention of the homeowner,
Is-
I did speak with him last week, and he'd like to keep everything the same if he can.
The house in the same spot and everything? Okay. Is he looking to build a 4-bedroom like
He's-
the other one that was
He's
there?
looking to build a 3-bedroom
Okay.
with the over-design of 4.
Type facility, 4-bedroom house, and says Title 5 plus 1, so.
Right, for Auburn's
So I'm
requirement.
figuring they designed for 4 bedrooms, so it must have been a 3-bedroom?
Right, exactly. So that's per Auburn reg.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying,
it's going to be a 3-bedroom house that he's proposing.
Okay, so the
Which is
system,
what was there before.
yeah, so the system meets that requirement there, so that's good.
And there's been no major changes in soils and anything else in the code?
I don't think so, since
Yeah. 06?
2006. I
Is-
mean, I take my LSC on Thursday, but,
Yeah.
yeah, not to my knowledge, soil, there are some changes in Title V, but we know all the Title
Yeah.
V regs, we've been dealing with them.
The question becomes, do you want to put basically this system within 50 feet of the existing well? Or do you want to have
The slope of the land is coming away from the house. If they've cleared the land out there, what's preventing them from dropping a couple more lengths of pipe and pushing the system a bit further away, unless we're talking wetlands?
Yeah, or we're
And-
talking
and-
a different soil.
Yeah,
You know, if the soil, say it's a
And
52A
we
up
got- and we
here
got
and
ledge.
becomes a 256, you're gonna have different absorption, so the system was built probably, where are the two pits did they do? Oh, no, they only had to do one.
So here, that's the existing cesspool.
Yep.
And then this would be one deep hole and one perk.
And one perk, that's right, because
Because it was a
they only
system
have to do
repair,
one.
right?
So
It was an
that's
existing
here.
house. So obviously, we have the challenges for Concom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That the owner is going through the paces with his wetland specialist.
Okay.
So they're going to be going through the conservation requirement process to be able to identify, where wetlands are on the site. So if there was restrictions on wetlands, obviously, we could bring that information back to you.
Okay.
But again, that's really, would be up to you whether or not you'd want to move forward with this same design, or looking to see what other options are available, because it's close to a 2.5 acre
I-
parcel.
I think the size is right. I'd like to see if there was no wetlands, like 20 feet past, behind it, if they could move the system back a little bit. I don't think it would cause, if they've already cleared a lot of that land, I don't see an issue with moving the system back 20, 25 feet. It would give us, it would go from 50 to 75, which I would feel more comfortable with, just because you have,
I mean, what are we looking at? One more deep well,
Well, no,
I don't know
'cause-
if they need-
No, because he would have
To
to
push
be
it
able
out.
to hit it.
yeah, that's right, he has to, I'm not a fan
So-
of DEP not, Title V regulations, because once you dig a deep hole, you're not putting the soil back layer by layer as you're supposed to, so it kind of, to me, they want the site to be on top of the deep hole. Yeah, they would have to dig another, to do
So
another perk.
we would be looking at probably soil testing, so you'd be doing a deep and a perk.
I mean, obviously, the well is so close to the house, there's gonna be a risk to the well during the construction process, demolition process anyway, well testing at a minimum. But as far as the system, if they've got the land cleared, I don't see wetland delineation on this plan. Did you,
Right,
Ray?
because at this time, when this plan was submitted, there
Right,
wasn't
right.
any. Since this plan back in 2006, obviously, there's been some wetlands in the process of being uncovered. I think that's what their wetland specialist is trying to figure out. So perhaps, once conservation has figured out, what the requirements are for this property, and his wetland specialist can assess, we might be able to have better information for you to look at what the choices are. Obviously, there's no foundation currently for this house that was raised, so to put a house back that close, is going to be somewhat concerning.
I would just relay to the property owner is to try to get the house away from the original well if they're intending to keep that well.
Because
I'm not,
he'd have to,
This is the gravel driveway, is that what this is right here?
yes.
So where is the frontage? Like, where do you come onto the property, up here?
This is actually, down here is Rochdale Street.
Okay, so,
And then you come in through a shared driveway.
okay.
and then go off to
And
its
then you
own.
come,
Okay.
you come off to the right. So there's actually
this-
another house
So the
sitting
system
right
is on the
Here
opposite
is
side of the driveway?
Tip of the U. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Again, I'd like to see the system pushed further away from the well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Again, if there's wetland issues or whatnot, or soil,
And for the protection of the well,
yeah,
would you want to see the house in the same location?
I would,
I'd like to try to keep them as far away from the well as practical.
Okay.
yeah.
You know, you certainly can't put it on your neighbor's lawn, but.
Yeah.
Well, the property extends this way
Sure.
as
Yeah,
well.
it looks like it's,
Yeah,
yeah, it looks like it
there's-
goes out to here. Yeah, 'cause I
I
mean,
mean-
I'm not looking to make them drill a whole new well, but if they want to keep the house in that area, then I would suggest moving the well. I mean,
And I
if
think-
you could keep the system where it is, so you don't have to do the whole new perk test and see if you could get a well up here, run it this way. Now you're gonna add probably 25 or 30 feet, and then you want to make sure it's far enough away from the line here. I understand that too, but behind it woods?
It is a wooded area to the right of this.
Yeah,
and
on his
Some in
property.
the front, but a lot of this has been cleared,
Yeah.
as some of the pictures that you saw.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the well being obviously a costly feature,
Yeah.
they might be able to design so that, you know, the house location and the septic move further away from the well, if that is,
Because right now, you're looking at 6 or 8 feet, 10 feet tops from the wellhead to the house.
oh yeah, I don't even think it's 10 feet.
Yeah, that's,
Do we have any well tests on that?
No,
Pass, no, I
not
doubt
to,
it.
not to my knowledge.
yeah. I'm not comfortable
there
with the
was
well being that
something-
close to the
No,
house.
no. But again, they're not trying to rebuild on an existing foundation.
No.
They collapsed all that and excavated it, so.
Well, no,
You know.
he would like to put everything back in the same spot. That was the intention of
That's
the,
intent. It just-
which is why I wanted to just bring it, you know, basically look at the plan, look at the situation now and figure out the steps here. Obviously, you know, if we have the wetland.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing
specialist.
too, is if we find out it's wetlands here, 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 then we'll probably end up having to just keep the plan and, you know, look like Steve said, the well testing and everything like that.
Yeah.
But if
I don't
if they find out the wetlands are only down here in the front of the property and up in this corner, and this area is already cleared, then maybe we can move the well itself.
20 or 30 feet.
At 20, 30
It's
feet.
just a couple extra length of pipe. And,
Yep.
Okay.
you know, we got the grade in favor here anyway.
So the well would be above everything
Yeah.
else.
All right.
So, yeah, I'd like to get the Conservation Commission, his water specialist and
Absolutely.
wetland specialist, I should say. I think if we had that information, once we know where the wetlands are on the property, then we can probably make a more informed decision.
Okay.
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah. You know, again, short of having them move the well.
Johnny, how come you didn't get up in the helicopter and take an above shot for us? I thought, isn't that on the roof? Don't we have a helicopter on the roof you can take?
The drone not working?
Not on Friday.
Not on Friday? Oh, okay.
All right, so we'll get the information from the wetland specialist.
Okay.
I'll follow up and see if, when they're going before Concom again, and get that information and follow up. Right, that's the neighbor's well.
The neighbors is existing well, too.
So that was
Yeah.
54 feet.
Right.
So it's 54 feet and then 50
Yeah.
to the existing, to the,
I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm looking, what's this, 100? That's the 100-foot well radius
For the neighbors.
for the neighbor's well, comes out to here and goes
Yeah.
under their house.
Yeah.
yes, that was to the tank.
Yeah, that was to the
Or
tank,
to the tank.
and then this is the radius going around.
And we approved that septic tank from the neighbor?
You did.
Or-
No, you need 50 feet.
Okay.
So the 50 feet, that's actually a good thing,
Okay.
because in the letter, they had it closer, so you actually denied that.
Okay.
So this was a redesign.
Okay.
So, this was a redesign. You allowed the 54 feet, because they needed 50
Okay, yeah.
minimum from the tank to the well. And then they couldn't go any closer to the 50 feet from the owner's well to the SAS. So at this point, what I'll do is, we'll see if we can get the owner to get the wetland specialist determination, follow up with the conservation requirements and see where they're at with their notice of intent, when that's scheduled. And then I'll bring that information.
So are they looking, if they were gonna bring it in, I mean, I know this is the plan, were they looking to bring in all the same stuff, and were they you gonna use Tom, or were they looking to do somebody else?
I think
Yeah.
he has spoken with
Okay.
Mr. Purcell,
'Cause
so,
I'd hate to see somebody do the planning and then somebody else come in and do the work for the simple fact that I like the person who does the planning to do the work.
yeah.
Because they know what they were looking at when they did it. And the other thing too is, I mean, we're looking at 9 years later, this is an Infiltrator Quick 4. There may be a different chamber that Tom likes to use now too, so there may be
Right.
something
This
different.
plan would have to be updated
Yes.
anyways.
Yeah.
So we'd need a new plan anyways, but we're gonna need, what's gonna change, we know, is the conservation requirement.
Okay.
So we're gonna need to make sure that we
All
have
right.
conservation approval
Mm-hmm.
on a proposed plan.
Sounds good.
And so your advisement would be to move the,
Move everything.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to conservation, but I think, at this
Okay.
point, we're looking at to move, keep things
I don't like the house being so close
to the well.
but.
Yeah.
all right,
if,
so
you
I'll
know,
bring you
I mean,
information.
Repositioning the house may be a little more difficult than
Moving the
repositioning.
well. And the other thing too is, when this was approved, it was approved as a repair.
Yeah,
Right now, I understand under DEP or under Title V, it still could pass, but now we look at it, it's new construction, if you're doing work anyways, it may be safer to move the well.
Well, if they do consider redesigning it, obviously they have enough acreage.
Yep.
They're over 2.5 acres. If they do additional testing, he can qualify for new construction and do additional bedrooms if they wanted.
Exactly.
You know, so
It
it might
may
increase,
actually work for him.
right,
better
increase
off.
the value of the property.
you don't have the original request, do you? I'm just trying to put
Request,
together why they requested the variance for the system setback to begin with.
Maybe at that time, the land wasn't cleared. They might have been just trying to do it in the cleared land. I don't know, I wasn't here.
Well,
so
that's why I'm
yeah. Mm-hmm.
wondering, what was the original hardship that they needed to have it?
Yeah,
Maybe it was all wet at that time.
yeah. So
I'm
even,
not sure it would have been all wet, because I think that would have been identified on the plan.
Board of Health recognized
but-
private well, but not regular. So.
Sorry,
you
no.
did- You did request that it be moved at that point too. So,
I don't have that, Steve.
Okay.
I can try to find that information and get it for you.
Yeah.
all right.
We approved it here, but what was the hardship at the time that, you know?
Yeah, you're gonna have
Now
that,
I'm
so it
looking-
might,
now I'm looking-
trigger.
And now I'm looking at a big field
Yeah,
sloping downhill away from the existing well. so
exactly.
What was
Yeah.
it, 6 years?
Yeah.
8 years, 9 years ago?
9 years ago, and you're looking for that trigger that's gonna make your memory go, oh, I remember this one.
Thank you.
'Cause
Okay.
that's when, what's her name was still on the board, right?
Marion and Cynthia.
Cynthia, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
No problem. So we'll just start on director's issues and just run
Okay,
with it.
sounds good. All right, so Eileen, we're going to go to Hamlet Estates, please. Hamlet Estates is a preliminary subdivision plan that we received. And that is, let me just put it in front of you while she gets it up on the screen.
Leave it over the camera.
Okay, so on the plan, this is actually off of West Street. Okay, so West Street, approximately 127, Paula?
127.
So at approximately 127, we have a proposal for a 5-lot subdivision.
Okay.
This is going to be the road coming in, Hamlet Lane, and then we have, the lots are numbered, if you see here in these numbers. So 5-lot proposed subdivision.
That's a big lot.
And we just received this actually last week. The homeowner has got in an engineering company, McClure Engineering, and they've already contacted us. We've already scheduled perk testing. So this is going to be private septic and private well.
Okay.
So,
It says,
Is there no,
well, water.
is,
oh, the water goes that way? Oh,
is there no town water or no town
The
sewer?
water district is
It's water.
down here.
Yeah, because here's the pike.
Yeah.
I will double check that.
Do they go
Okay.
that way?
It is septic.
Okay.
And I'll check on the water. There is a pump station down the street.
Yep.
So, this subdivision, we've already scheduled the perk testing for it, and I just wanted to bring to your attention that we got it in. Any new subdivisions, Board of Health, obviously.
Has approval or,
Right, we want to know the new building in town. This is, again, just a preliminary,
yep.
so it'll start going through the process.
So, quick question. So these are existing houses on West Street,
Yes, sir.
the two here, and then one starts on the back end of this house here, okay. And then 2, 3, 4, 5. Obviously, he's the one who's starting the subdivision since he's keeping 15 acres for himself.
Lot.
That's what I'm figuring. So it backs right up to the pike is what it looks like. And then across the pike is the woods and the new middle school.
And Century Sportsman's Club
Club
is
is up.
to the rear.
The rear, okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, because this goes up to Rochdale Street, and then Rochdale comes back down to Century. Okay. All right.
Thank Okay. So that is, again, just for your information. And we'll let you know how the perks go
Okay.
in a couple of weeks. Okay?
All right. Sounds
Thank you.
good.
Flu prevention, please, Eileen. So, as you may have seen, we have just scheduled several flu clinics. We have our senior flu clinic this Thursday at the Senior Center, and that's going to be Thursday, October 9th, from 9 to 12. And we are offering the flu clinic for all Auburn seniors. That's the very first clinic that we always do to get our compromised population vaccinated as first. And then we have our public flu clinic is scheduled. We're actually coordinating with the Fall Festival. The town does the annual Fall Festival now. That's a new event through the Auburn Recreation and Culture Department. So they've been gracious enough to allow us to come. So that is going to be on Saturday, October 18th. We're going to be there for the entire day from 9 to 4, and that's going to be at the Auburn High School. So that's going to be our general clinic, and that will be, again,
Are we using our EDS
9
site
to 4.
inside?
We are using, the high school is our EDS site. However, because all the activities are going on in the main downstairs, we'll have a spot, I don't know if you remember, at the Holiday Craft Fair.
When you were in the hallway there?
Yeah,
right down
we're,
there?
yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna, because that area worked very well, we're going to stay in that area.
Okay.
Because it seemed to work well. It gave us a little bit of privacy, and the flow was good.
Good.
So we'll be doing the Fall Festival, and then we will also take a look and see where we are with vaccine amounts after that, and plan more clinics.
What did we get from the state this year?
We got approximately 150 doses.
And that's what they gave you, and that's it? And they're not,
Well, that's what we were allotted.
okay.
You know, that's not to say we can't get more,
No,
but
I
that's,
understand.
they've been pretty strict about
Yeah.
whatever vaccine we get. We have to utilize all of it before, you even think about asking, which makes sense.
And we bought, we did our own
approximately the same amount.
Okay.
So we have approximately 300 doses. So we are hopeful that we're going to have very busy clinics, and we will try to get the vaccine out as quickly as possible. This actually is sooner than we did last year, so that's good.
This could be the last year the state has, too,
Correct.
what I heard.
And then we put an article in the Auburn newsletter for flu prevention, and I just wanted to highlight the CDC actions to fight the flu. Basically, getting vaccinated is the number one way to protect yourself. Take everyday precautions, making sure that people are washing their hands, wiping down commonly touched areas. If people are feeling, keeping at bay from people that are sick, and then also the antiviral drugs. If your doctor gives you some medication, go ahead and take it. Not everybody finishes it, so. So that's our flu prevention. We're happy to get going on it. A lot of people have been asking, so we're going to move forward with that. Under emergency response, I think that this is probably a good segue to talk about a lot of the things that have been obviously in the news locally and nationally for enterovirus and Ebola. Steve obviously is a nurse with many years of experience, and he had some talking points that he wanted to identify. Eileen, can you click on infectious disease? Yes. And we have the the Ebola fact sheets and enterovirus fact sheet.
I just wanted to just touch base briefly. I'm sure folks have heard and seen some of the local news as well as the national news and international issues with the Ebola virus. Just wanted to bring up a couple of points. Obviously, Massachusetts is still a very low risk according to the DPH CDC. I just wanted to, just a little background. Ebola is a virus, still fairly rare. It was initially discovered in 1976 and predominantly restricted to African countries. Transmission of the disease is direct contact with body fluids, which could be saliva, urine, vomit, any fluid coming off the human body of somebody that's sick. And they're only contagious while they're actually showing the symptoms of the illness, which are very similar to a lot of viral illnesses such as fever, headache, muscle pain, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, unexplained bleeding or bruising. Incubation period can run from 2 to 21 days, but averages only 8 to 10 days. Prior to exhibiting the symptoms, the person that is infected is not known to be contagious. Diagnosis can be difficult because, again, it imitates a lot of other viral illnesses. There are specific lab tests that can show the antigens to the virus in the body between that and the patient's history. Treatment is still just symptomatic. If you're dehydrated, if you're having respiratory problems, it's just the treatment of the symptoms of the disease. And prevention, like with many viral diseases, prevention, number one, hand washing, avoiding people exhibiting the illness, especially if they have come from the African countries that are affected currently. Healthcare workers have their own specific protocols that they follow according to DPH, CDC, and their local facilities. But for those of us in the community, simple hand washing, not only for Ebola, for D68, for the common cold, for the common flu, hand washing is the number one prevention right there. Cleaning surfaces, using standard commercial cleaners that will take care of things such as the norovirus, rotavirus, any of the viral killing cleaners that you can find will take care of the Ebola virus. The CDC, the Mass Department of Public Health, and the World Health Organization all have great information, fact sheets that are very simple for the public to look if there's any concern or question.
And I just wanted to also point out, Steve had sent over a lot of great information earlier electronically, and we actually have that up on our website already. So if the public goes to the auburnguide.com, which is the town website, under health alerts, there's information there, the fact sheets, and a lot of good information that you can use to educate yourself about these concerns.
Then I guess we could also say the enterovirus D68 or D68, EV68. Again, it's a viral illness. Hand washing is a primary prevention. Those most affected by it are going to be the immunocompromised, the young, the old, those that have existing respiratory illnesses to begin with, and treated over-the-counter medications. Of course, anytime there's a fever, any breathing difficulties, always to call your physician. And let them know what things are going on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For emergency response, we also here do respond to emergency things that happen in the community. Recently, we had a Mass Pike rollover of a food delivery truck. We have, actually, if you can go to the pictures, Eileen, there's actually a couple of pictures that we took. This was a rollover of an 18-wheeler.
Was this the one that was like over Route 12?
It was, yeah.
I get stuck in the looky-loo traffic coming the other way. It was a
12 or
Friday
290?
afternoon.
You can continue through,
Was it
Eileen.
12 or 290?
This was actually on the Mass Pike.
It was on the Mass Pike, but it
Right,
was
on
over,
overhanging,
it was, I
right.
thought it was over the.
This is actually a pretty good picture that shows you the truck. It was a Stop and Shop truck that actually rolled over. That's the bridge. If you can kind of see in the background, the sign
It says
says
exit 9 Auburn
Auburn.
Street.
And so this, they brought in obviously, the vehicles to get the container upright. The driver actually was taken by ambulance. This shows you, actually, that's, the truck on its side, again, oil and so forth. That's a great picture of what it was. The traffic, you can't really see the traffic, but the traffic
was
was
backed up.
backed up.
Both sides, because
Yeah.
on this, I was wondering, I was coming in, it got blocked off right before 146, and I was stuck.
Oh.
Took me about 15, 20 minutes just to get into Auburn, and the traffic was just because people were slowing down and looking.
Yeah, I mean, the police did a great job trying to move traffic, but it was very, very
So what
busy.
what was this
So,
one? It wasn't ginger and garlic
This
or
actually,
lobster or beer?
we were very lucky. This is actually the inside of the container. The container split apart. They didn't have a heavy load. It was some produce.
Okay.
It wasn't a whole lot of food, but they obviously destroyed it. So I just wanted to kind of bring to your attention some of the inspections that obviously we respond to. For emergency response, it kind of goes right into emergency preparedness. Later this month, we actually have the Massachusetts Health Officers Association Conference. That's the annual conference that we get a lot of great updates from the state. And I'm sure this will be kind of an exciting year to kind of talk about infectious disease. They always have a gamut of anything from community sanitation, camps, pools, food, anything that seems to be a hot topic.
I think there was a couple empty spots. You know what's going to get filled in there. It'll be all the stuff that's going on now with
Right.
the
Right.
EV68 and Ebola and all that stuff will come out right away.
And also part of the preparedness goes along with us making sure that we have the most up-to-date information. So there's a lot that happens, and so we try to keep abreast of everything. Eileen just actually finished a public health inspector training for food. So she learned a lot more about what's going on and in how the regulations are ever changing.
Get your white lab coat and all that.
Eileen, if you can go under yard waste. Excuse me. So under solid waste, I just wanted to give you an update. Casella, I had mentioned, I think at the last meeting, that they were, have a detention basin, that they have, that they're putting under construction to actually do maintenance on it. It's been some years since it's been cleaned out, so it's not actually working the way it's was designed for. So they've actually started that project. As of Friday, they were putting in their protections, silt fence and so forth. So that is going on. We're happy to see that because we obviously want the detention pond to filter out the runoff that comes from the site. They've gone through every process that the town has required, so we're doing well on that. Solid Waste Advisory Committee continues to meet. We had a meeting recently where they're looking at the contract for next year, so they'll be looking at ways to obviously try to keep the cost from escalating.
Has someone been involved in that 36-town deal with Wheelabrator?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So we have brought that information to Solid Waste, and I have.
Okay. Because I know they're going to present on the Thursday. We're going to be on the Cape. They're
okay.
going and bringing their demands or whatever, what they want to pay to Wheelabrator
okay.
on that day.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if someone from our solid waste was going to be involved in that because you won't be here or anything like that.
Yeah,
so.
I have been attending the meetings.
Okay.
But obviously, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's 36 towns, so I know there's been like 40, not everybody shows up to every meeting, but I just know it's been getting big. And just to let you know, we have a 20-year contract with Wheelabrator. And I think right now we're paying 74 a ton, 72 a ton.
74.
74 a ton.
And change.
And because there's 36 towns, we have a better bargaining. So what they're gonna do is, because there are some people who are paying for one day and getting it for like 64. So they're paying less for their, just going buying $64, paying for their dump and getting 64 a ton, and we're paying 74 a ton. So the towns have gotten together because we're getting close to our 10-year, and anybody who wants to opt out has to have a letter in by the end of 2015, I think, for 2016 to end. So what they're doing is towns are getting together, and they said, hey, let's go to Wheelabrator and say we want to pay $60 a ton. So whatever we can save, that $14 a ton. They figure Wheelabrator was going to say no on the 60 and maybe knock it up to 66, but still it gives us more money coming back in the back end. How many tons did we do last year? I mean, I know Westboro did 5,000 tons or 5,200 tons or something like that. So we have to be close
Right.
to that. So
The solid waste is aware of that. And so they're, I have been attending the meetings, and I know Steve is part of the negotiating team.
yeah.
So the group is collectively figuring
Yeah,
out what
I
they
mean,
want to
and
do.
you don't even have to, as long as you sign the list saying that, because we have to, 7% of whatever our tonnage is what the help pays for the attorney or something like that. So once you sign that, you can step back and let the committee handle it, but I just wanted to make sure we had signed off on that, and that we're getting in there, 'cause I'd like to see, I mean, even if it's $10 a ton we save at 5,000 tons, that's a pretty penny. So.
Sure. We are getting ready to do the trash sticker order again this year. The totals that we normally do, so it's a tri-town order. So we usually pick the sticker choice, and then we'll go, it'll be Auburn, Millbury, and, Auburn, Leicester, and Oxford. So we are in the process of getting that order together. I know in years past, Andy had done between 200 and 300 stickers. Right now, currently, we're at approximately 200 trash haulers. So obviously, we want to, the minimum order on the stickers is, what was the total?
We were doing 375, 125 for Oxford, and 50 for Leicester. Oxford ends up throwing away about 50
Yeah. Did
stickers.
Sutton
It's
jump
because
in?
of the price.
Yeah.
It jumps
Yeah.
way up the list.
So you pay for the extra
So you
to,
pay for the extra ones. It's cheaper to,
I remember a couple years ago Sutton wanted to get in on that. Had they ever gotten in on that? No, okay.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, 2 years ago, I was asked when I was, well, still working out there, they had asked me how we did it, and I told them, and Cheryl was supposed to contact Andy, because she said, but I think what happened was she found the cost was gonna be too much, because she only needed like 25.
Oh, okay.
So I think the cost was gonna be too much for her, so she ended up not doing it, but.
Well, I'll
I
reach
don't- I
out to
don't-
her. I
Yeah,
mean,
reach out and see if
she's,
she
you know,
wants to.
Any cost savings would
If-
help
Yeah.
take 25 off of
off of us.
hours
Yeah.
at $1.85.
Yeah, she may, because she had said something, she
Yeah.
didn't think she was gonna need that many, so that may be someone to look into if
Sure.
she, because she had mentioned before, that was like, I wanna say almost 2 years ago, but she had
Okay.
mentioned it, but I think maybe if you talk to her, it might click with her, and then maybe, you know.
Sure.
bring
Well,
her
any
into the
savings
fold.
would
Yeah.
help us. So I just wanted to let you know on
They haven't been
that.
ordered yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah, so this is a good time, contact her, see if she wants in and get it moving. Excellent.
And I also wanted, under solid waste, this is starting the end of this week. Eileen, can you bring up the yard waste flyer? So I just wanted to remind residents that we are going to be doing the yard waste pickup. Allied Waste will be going around town for the next several selected Saturdays. If you scroll down, it has the dates.
Yeah, I need the
So, starting,
18th,
yeah, it's actually not this Saturday, it starts on the 18th.
25th.
So, the 18th to 25th, November 1st, November 8th, November 15th, and November 22nd. So they have to have their yard waste out to the curb by 7 a.m. They want to put those in the, like the paper leaf bags or some sort of container, you know, that they can,
And you cannot use your toter.
no.
Yeah, they make sure they tell you that, no use
So-
of toter.
Can't use the toter, they don't,
Yeah,
yep, can't use the toter, no plastic bags. Obviously, it's compostable material, so, we just wanted to remind people, bring it to their attention. That is also posted on the, town website, so if anybody, misses those dates. The other item here, we just wanted to bring you up to speed. I'm very happy to tell you that, we ordered another 20 of the compost bins. So those sold out, and we are working on our second order now. We just got those in recently. So we do have those here. They are available for purchase here at the Board of Health. They are, what's that?
I have a composting wheel at work, and it tells you how to compost.
Yes.
We have about 5,000 of them, so Steve said I could take what I want. So
Fabulous.
maybe you can throw them in with
Yeah,
everyone you
that
sell.
would be great.
You can
We
get,
have,
it's a wheel, and it tells you how to compost and when to mix and everything
That's
like that.
nice.
It's a little different, so I'll get you a case of those, because Steve wants them out.
That's helpful. See that booklet?
Yep.
We do put that booklet in each one of those bins.
Okay.
So, the bins, I believe, are 55, right, Paula? 55 apiece for the large, and then $10 for the small kitchen scrap buckets. So, we do give those, the educational booklets, but if you have something
Yeah,
we can add,
they're like
that-
10
that's
years
nice.
old, but
Yeah, that's
I,
fine.
Steve,
Composting
they
is
should,
composting.
composting is composting.
Yeah, that's
Because
nice.
Westboro had those for when they were selling their composters. They
great.
did that about 10, 15 years ago, and and they have stacks and stacks, and I had saw them, and Steve's like, oh,
That's
you want
awesome.
them? Take them. So I'll bring them here,
Fabulous.
and why
I
spend
think those were
money?
put out by DEP a
Yes.
couple years ago, because
Yeah.
I have one. That's,
Yeah.
it's a nice feature.
Yeah.
All right, so a lot going on for solid waste. We have a lot of good things happening. Tobacco, I just wanted to, again, if that's something that we want to update, the regulation. In your packet, I gave you a email that we received regarding the Tobacco 21 project. So that is something that, again, people are reaching out to try to get information regarding this, trying to push that, that topic. So we just, we'll move forward on that when you're ready. The animals update, I wanted.
I just have a question
I'm
on
sorry.
tobacco. Did we get a test from the FDA? I don't know if you knew about that. The FDA is doing their own tobacco tests. Did we get?
Oh, yes,
The-
I
the
actually
FDA.
did, I didn't know they're doing it now,
Yeah.
but.
They were done over the summer.
Yeah, I did know from
Okay.
WRTCC that they were going to have FDA inspectors out. That's part of a niche in the grant, that they were going to be doing some inspections.
Yeah.
I'm not aware.
You would have known because they only sent letters out to those who didn't, who sold to minors.
Oh, okay.
We got one in Westboro, and we got it, and we're like, when did they come out? We had no clue. It was
Right.
they went out July 3rd, and we got the paperwork saying there was a sale on September 23rd. So it was one of those things where we decided not to fine them because it was way out of date. But, so they are around. And I spoke to Wesley Chin out in Brookline, and he is a tobacco specialist. He does 5 towns, and he said they will be around a lot. It's part of the federal government's whole tobacco thing too. So not only will the WRTCC be doing it, but so won't the FDA.
Okay, I can
So
check and see if.
I was just happy that if you didn't see that we sold, then we didn't sell.
Okay,
Because they turned in all the paperwork for June, July, and August. In September, we got all that information, and we had one sale in town, so, in Westboro.
okay, I can follow up and see if.
It's not a big deal, I
if
just
they
didn't know
did the
if we
area.
had a sale,
Maybe no
that's all.
news is good news.
No news is good news on that one, definitely. Because I saw the list and I kept scrolling through, but they had it by date in town. So you couldn't just type in Auburn and find Auburn. You had to go by the date. So we had to look at our letter for Westboro. So they had every single date starting on June 16th all the way to August 20th. And you had to look at the date to see if your town was in there.
Oh, okay,
So if you didn't get a letter, then you're good.
okay, very good. Under animals, I wanted to let you know that I'm so happy to tell you, over the past several months, we have been working to try to get the position for animal control officer from a on-call position back to a full-time position.
Yeah.
It was a full-time position, as you may remember, years ago, and it's been some time since it's been full-time. So we do have that position posted.
Nice.
So I'm very happy about that, and I know that there's a lot of people that care what happens with the animals. We get, I can't tell you how many calls we get
Yeah.
on a daily basis, a weekly basis. So it's a really good, it's a good move for the town, and
And they will report to us?
yes,
Okay.
yep. It'll be reporting
And
to
this
director.
is not the barn book, this is animal control, totally different, correct?
No, actually, it's going to be a combined
Fine,
position.
they'll be doing the barn book and
Yeah,
doing? Oh, good.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
So, it will be a combined position, so it'll be animal control and animal inspector.
Nice. Oh, that's
Obviously,
great.
the people that have the animal experience, they know the gamut. You
Yep.
know, they
No,
respond
that's-
to the barking dogs, the bunny in the fence, the coyote concerns, all those concerns, as well as the barn inspections. So we do have that position's posted. Mass Department of Public Health arbovirus report. I just wanted to let you know, we continue to get those weekly. So we get for a month. Central Mass Mosquito Control we're part of that control project. They currently are doing culvert maintenance.
Okay, good.
So the culvert maintenance is happening right now. The, and then can you see if there's somebody in the hallway? I'm not really sure. Asian Longhorn Beetle Training and Education. I wanted to bring to your attention, recently, the town was offered Asian Longhorn Beetle training, and I gave you one of the educational pamphlets that they provided for us. We had inspectional services, Board of Health, building, as well as DPW, and all of the gentlemen down there. So they did training a couple weeks ago, and really, it was an awesome training. Department of Conservation and Recreation and representatives from USDA came out and showed us the look-alike bugs, showed us the what to look for. So I just wanted to let you know. The Abandoned Housing Initiative, I wanted to also let you know that recently Eileen and myself went out with the AG to do an assessment for more properties in town. We've received many calls in the past, would you say month and a half? A lot of vacant property calls. So,
I've gotten a couple.
yeah,
So
so,
Woodland Road and,
yes,
yep, and the other one is White Terrace.
White Terrace,
Okay.
I'll have to, we have
Yeah,
quite a few, so
yeah.
I wanna.
Those are the calls I've gotten.
Okay, yeah, I'll
So-
take those down. So we are working with the AG to identify what can be done.
Okay.
So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Prescription take-back, obviously, we had the take-back, National Take-Back Day at the end of September, and we have the program ongoing at the police station. Compost bins, I already told you about, and I think that should do it for all the updates.
Yeah, how the piles doing over at the police department, the bucket there, how's that doing?
It's doing well, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I know
it's
you've
due
had,
to be
you've got.
checked again.
okay.
It's been about 2 months.
Yeah.
So we'll check it, because I think with the National Day, it brings awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So we expect it to be, getting full again. So
Excellent.
at this point, I will.
The program just took off. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
that
really
was one
did.
of those, that's just like a pat on the back for everybody who was involved in that one. That was a great idea.
Calls are still coming in today.
Asking where to get rid of.
How do I get rid of my needles? How do I get rid of my prescriptions?
Well, the needles are still CVS,
I
correct?
know.
And it's great, though. We have a place now. I mean, some people are new to it, maybe new to
They're
town, and
thrilled,
some people
yes.
are new to needles, too. Not everybody, all of a sudden they get them, now they don't know what to do with them because they haven't been insulin dependent, and all of a sudden they are. So it's nice to know, everybody in the office knows where it goes, and that's great. Two good programs. The needle take-back was before I got here, but then the other one was another one that I was involved in, so I'm happy those are both working. It's great. All right, so moving on. What else you got for us?
So we have an update from Eileen. She has been busy with temporary food permits, and I'm sure she can give you an update on the inspection progress.
Okay.
Well, school's back in session, so we started on the schools again. I have 2 more schools to do, which will be done by the end of this week. And for the most part, all went well. I did just do that training class, which was 5 days, and extensive travel. Sounds like you might have went through it, Ray, so it did take up a lot of time. We are winding down on our temporaries, but now we're kind of rolling into the fall ones. St. Joseph's had their chicken barbecue. Now the road races are starting, so some repeat people that actually know now the changes we've made with temporary food, so it's really getting smoother. And I think all the people that are taking the education and moving with it find that it's much easier to get through the process. We went to Outback, me and Darlene. They have set some dates and put some things in motion to open their new one. I actually had a visit at their old establishment and went through that, and then we visited their new one. We're gonna go back next week for the full pre-operation inspection, and they hope to be open the week of the 20th, just before we go. So that's pretty big news in Auburn. A lot of people are expecting it. You know, the place looks great, and everyone's excited. They do have outdoor dining, so that'll be a first for that size here. So we're kind of going through the ropes to see how that's gonna work.
Yeah, we won't really get much of that till April or May.
Well, you know, believe it or not,
They
it's
have
all
heaters.
equipped with heaters.
Yeah.
They don't have the drawdowns, but they have, you know, very intricate ceiling-mounted heaters that are gonna come down on top of people. So I think they are hoping just to kind of feel
They'll
it
get,
out.
on some of the warmer
Fall.
days, they'll
Yeah.
have a few people out there, yeah.
Yeah, so.
People who don't want to wait the hour for the tables, so they'll say, I'll sit outside.
Yeah.
I think
it's
isn't that
Heated
the first of
patio.
its
Yeah.
kind in New England?
Interesting.
Well, they are
Or
nice
a
though.
concept,
They
yeah.
do.
That
for Outback.
concept for
Framingham Beer Works
Outback
has
is the
it.
first of its kind. So they're kind of excited because they're like a model for this new concept
Yep.
and to see how it's gonna go. We also opened up a residential kitchen, Cake Addictions by Bree, so she's gonna make wedding cakes for order to the retail. So they opened up on Friday, and we'll be out and about around town doing free samples. And then, just the regular, a few smaller inspections. So when I did go on one of my inspections, I did have an establishment tell me that someone other than the town or the tobacco control came out and did an inspection there. So we did know that there were other people around.
Okay.
They had told me that they were the state, but hearing your conversation, maybe it was,
Yeah, it's the state running it for FDA.
okay,
You know, you may have, and they're supposed to be using the same kids that they use for,
they actually come in and did a compliance inspection, so
Okay.
that's why I thought it might have been a little
Yep.
different. And they did he did show me a signature that said the state,
Yeah.
so he couldn't find the business card.
Yep.
You know, I was kind of hoping to get a look at.
yeah, I just got this state
About-
form for their compliance check forms. I have a copy of one of those I got from Brookline, because they use the same state form. It's a nice form. It's good to have when you're doing, because I didn't realize there's like 14 different stickers they're supposed to have in these establishments. I always knew of 3, and there's 14 different ones they need to have, and it's like, wow. So we don't,
Talking about for tobacco?
yeah. There's
Okay.
all these different stickers they have to have, the ones on the door, the ones at each register. I always thought there just had to be one at the registers, and it's one on every single register,
And
so.
depending upon what type of product they
Yeah,
sell.
exactly.
There's more.
So, yeah, so I got that because I'm running into that now. We changed our tobacco regs in Westboro, so we're fighting the good fight. It started October 1st, so we've already been out doing all the compliance checks on that.
Yeah, that's the only establishment that had told me that they had someone.
Yeah, they're not
other
doing
than
everyone in
Walmart
town, they're
or-
just picking and choosing, I guess, so, that's good. So that means if somebody went in and you didn't get a letter, that means they did well, so,
And that's it.
okay. All right. Let's see.
Oh, I did have one other item. For our temporary events, we're putting together new applications, new packets, kind of reviewing, like you are, Ray, a lot of documents that are out there in the field and picking what works for our town. And just going through the regs and pulling everything up. I found that one of the things that is not consistent here are having the temporary events set up a portable hand washing station. And I've been requiring it for anyone that's doing PHFs. And I'd like to see what the board's thoughts are. I'd like to require it for anyone doing a temporary
I
event.
think hand washing stations should be everywhere. There should be a gray water bucket at the bottom. You can decide how you want them. I like people to have those, sometimes you
With
can't
the-
have, I like the
We have a
orange
nice
coolers.
picture that shows the display.
That's what I did when I did the Oxford 300 thing. I made them buy the orange coolers, fill them with hot water, and then use that just so they'd have something, because at that point, they had never done anything for hand
Right.
washing. So you can set up the system you like, however you want to do it, as long as it's got hot water, the soap, the paper towels, and a gray water bucket. You can make your own decision on how
Yeah,
that
at this
is.
point, I wanted to require it across the board, so I wanted to get your thoughts to make sure that, in the regs, it really, when they start talking about temporary, they talk about hand washing throughout
Yeah.
everything that's out there in print on it. It's just not something that always is consistent, and I want to make it part of.
Oh, yeah.
How many
requirements.
of these events are we also receiving porta-john permits for?
We actually have been very aware of the portable potty.
Yeah. They're-
Portable toilets. We do get notification pretty much for like the Relay for Life.
Right.
We've had some walks, some seasonal events and special events that we
reason-
are getting
The
consistent.
reason I bring it up is I've noticed over the course of the summer, a lot of events that I've gone to in-state, out-of-state, different fairs and things like that, a lot of these companies also provide hand wash stations.
Well, at the
I mean,
Relay
it's a
for Life,
rental
yeah.
issue, and,
Relay for Life, whoever they used, also had 2 or 3 hand washing stations, similar to the one that we now have as a Board of Health. And it was great, so I did test it and see
Yeah.
that they were using it. And they did tell me, Steve, they got it from the gentleman that rented them the porta potties. But part of the whole new application process that I'm going through are including, if they have porta potties, you know, what's their number that they expect there, so that we can do the math out and decide how many porta potties they need.
Right.
We're also asking them what, it's their responsibility for the trash, what their setup is, and are they gonna have additional trash receptacles, recycle receptacles? So things that we had like a standard application, we're just making it a little more developed, so
right.
that, you know, people will also think in that realm,
right.
what do we have and what do we need?
You know, obviously, an additional expense, especially if it's a smaller venue. But like you were talking about the orange buckets.
Yeah, you make your
There,
own,
you
you
know,
make your own station.
Different sporting goods stores sell little self-contained sinks. There's plenty.
There's ways to do
There's
it.
plenty of ways.
Yep.
Renting the device.
The good thing is some of the, like the road races, we have the 5Ks, there's one that starts at the Elks, so they have the bathrooms there, the hand sinks
Right,
there.
right.
There's another one that starts at North American Martyrs, they have bathrooms there and stuff like that. So a lot of them are centered around a central location, but the ones that are on the fields are the ones that,
Right.
like, Auburn High School does have outdoor bathrooms. Will they need, if they're having a huge event, will they need a porta potty? It's, all depends. you
Yeah,
know.
maybe, and maybe not, but it gets them
Yep.
to start
Thinking.
thinking, you know, what are my expectations for crowds, and will I have enough facilities if needed? The hand washing station is really for the people preparing the food.
Yeah.
Right, right.
You know, we want, hand washing is, you know, part of the 5 high risk for foodborne illness, so, you know, it's part of all the education that me and Darlene continually tell them, but, I mean, this is a reinforcement behind it.
Yeah.
We're telling them how important it is, but they need to be doing it, and it's really tough to do at some of your temporary events.
Yeah. And that's why I was curious as how many of the temporary events are renting porta-johns as well.
The bigger ones are.
What's
Yeah,
available
yeah.
in the industry today is a lot better than what was available even 10 years ago.
I love the ones that aren't, they're a trailer, they roll in, you go up the stairs, and it's like going into a regular bathroom.
Oh.
They have they have a sink and a bath, they have like 4 different ones on one trailer, and
Yeah.
it's like walking into your own private bathroom, and it's
A
nice
lot of the
and clean.
restaurants and places we stop on the bike trails,
Yep.
especially at the Cape,
Oh, yeah,
that's all you have.
and they're great.
But again,
Yeah.
something to look for.
Yep.
We have been, the one good thing is that we have taken, you know, observation of a lot of these events that maybe never had them, or they weren't permitted. So now, when Eileen and myself are out, you know, we take note, okay, there's a porta potty there. We check with Paula, have we received the application? Is this a licensed hauler in town? You know, quite honestly, we are getting, you know, permit applications received, and if we don't have somebody, if they're not on the list, we're calling them up and saying, hey, you
Right.
can't
Yep.
Yeah.
do business in town without being permitted. So we're starting to kind of pull together some of those requirements. And I mean, obviously, we'd love to have Xerox copies of us running
Sure.
around,
Yeah.
but, you know, we do what we can and try to bring awareness to a lot of these companies that are
Right.
out there doing business in town, because, you know, when it comes right down to it, we don't want, you know, Joe Schmo, septic hauler, where is he dumping that? You know, are we getting pump slips for that?
Right,
So,
right.
we're trying to follow the whole chain. And quite honestly, a lot of the bigger companies that do business in town on those portable toilets, they're a lot better now. Most of them have like hand sanitizer in there.
Right.
They'll have disposable, paper towels.
Yeah.
But we have seen, like, at some of the events, like the walks and so forth, they actually do have like a little hand
Right.
wash
Hand wash
thing.
Stations,
day.
yeah.
But, you know, as I had mentioned before, hand washing is the number one easiest, prevention that we
Yeah.
can do to reduce the risk of disease.
And
as
it's one of the
far as
last, and it's one of the first things they miss when
Right.
when they're planning their day.
Right.
They don't think about how am I gonna wash my hands and stuff like that.
But
And-
what's,
and-
what's available out there now, obviously to have a public hand washing station nestled in between 12 outhouses is great, but to have a dedicated one, perhaps even with hot water, in the kitchen area.
And that's what they have, you can set up your own, and it's a little expense. I mean, a lot
Right.
of these are charitable organizations. They're doing this to raise money for their cause. And it's, like Ray said, it's very little money for a roll of paper towels, a pump thing, a gray water bucket, and then some type of container that
Right.
has a spout that can open for them
Yeah.
to wash their hands. Their temporary event isn't gonna use that much water for
Right.
hand washing, 2 or 3 people. in the
And
course
if
of a
you fill at the
6-hour
beginning, it's
event.
good for 4 to 6 hours
Yeah,
inside one of
with
those
warm
things.
Insulated.
It keeps it warm.
And just on the other thing, on the porta potties, Steve, I'm not sure if you're aware, part of our inspection for temporary events, when we permit the porta potties, we actually inspect them. And we make sure that they have the sanitizers full,
Yeah.
that they have something to wipe their hands if they have a water spout, that it's clean and it's sanitary,
Right.
and that then didn't bring something that didn't go through the cycle of being re-sanitized from another event. So, when they are there, that's how we catch if they aren't permitted, if we get there and we see some that are there and we don't know, but we inspect them all at every temporary event that we go and do an inspection for.
And make sure they're.
Yeah, we make
they're
sure they
Yeah.
meet the
pumped out and
standards.
emptied.
Again, my
you know?
point
Yeah.
more so being the availability of hand washing stations, that again, I don't think
Yeah.
was that common 10 years
No.
ago.
No, and actually, the Relay for Life, the Cancer Relay for Life at Lemansky Park had 2, and they did come, they were dropped off as an extra from the porta potty company, and it was great. They had set one right up with the survivors dinner and one on the side.
Thank you.
I mean, down the road, if it's something that you want to do as a requirement, I mean, that's something you can talk
I'm
about.
curious what's out in the industry, what's available, what the expense of these
Mm.
units are. You know, we have a scout troop putting a spaghetti dinner on in a field somewhere.
Now,
You
that's,
know.
so that's what I'm telling you. Anyone
Yeah.
who's doing that now is going to be required to set up a temporary hand washing
Right, right.
station. And they can do one themselves. with the
Simple, like
ins-
Ray mentioned.
And we have a
Right.
diagram for it, instructions for it. Actually,
Excellent.
go there and can show them
Yeah.
if they, the different people that put out the education material are real good about having a couple documents on, are you ready for a temporary event? They do illustrations, they do little educational pieces, and we put it together and give it to them. And one is really great on how to set that up.
All right.
All right.
Communicable disease?
We actually have the report from the nurse.
Nothing that jumps out. Questions?
I leave that to you and Marion. Okay. So next meeting is scheduled for October 27th,
That's the fourth Monday.
the fourth Monday, yeah.
I actually, I will not be available, but I'm sure Eileen can run the meeting
Okay.
if that's the next day the board chooses.
Well, we can look at it. The week before, we're gonna be away at the conference. So, it would have to go out, Paul would have to put it out on Tuesday, really, or you'd have to set it up on Tuesday before you left for the conference anyways. If there's nothing pressing, we can put it on hold till the 10th,
Okay.
if that works for everybody.
I think, is the 10th a holiday?
No, the 11th is a
The
holiday,
11th.
Tuesday.
No, but I mean, is it,
The 11th is on the 11th.
Yeah, they do it,
Veterans
they do
Day.
Veterans Day on their regular day now, they don't
Okay.
do it a Monday holiday,
You don't.
which is great for us because that's a 12-hour day for me at work, so that's a great day to have off is Tuesdays. We like that.
I mean, luck's out.
I'm not sure I'll be available that day.
Okay.
But that's okay. You
Well,
pick
yeah,
the
we
date
can
and-
plan the date, and if we have to move it, then we can look into that,
Okay.
but,
So we'll schedule the room for the 27th,
for
for the October 27th, but
yes, pending.
Correct.
If there's nothing going on, there's no reason we can table it.
we'll schedule the 10th also.
The 10th, we should have one the beginning of November, because before the
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, it's the holiday season, and usually we have something coming up at that
What
point.
time do you want it to start?
I am available starting at 5:30. That way, because sometimes we run late, and I'd rather, get people out of here on the earlier side. You guys work till 7. If we can get you out by 7, that'd be nice,
Yeah, the
Get
only
everybody-
reason we had to change the time tonight was because we had.
We were
selectmen.
on off week. Yep, I understand that.
So 5:30 for both?
So, yeah, 5:30 works for me, if it works for everybody else. I'm hoping that if we schedule them earlier, we might be able to get Marion to come in.
If I'm free at 6:30, I'm free at 5:30.
Yeah,
If
with
I'm
me,
working,
I
I'm not free until
yeah.
after 8.
I work till 4:30, and it takes me 25 minutes to get home, so, I mean, we could do 5:15, but that'd be tight sometimes if I hit traffic, so I'm
So
thinking
5:30 is
5:30.
okay?
Then we'll move them back a half hour and see what happens,
Okay.
okay? If that works for everybody else, I think it, for the people who work here till 7 o'clock at night, I think it'll be a little more comfortable, you don't have to stay as late,
Yeah,
so.
that's fine.
Okay, any other questions or concerns?
I don't think so.
Motion to adjourn?
Second the motion. How do you vote? Aye. Have a good night.